Hey, welcome back to my car's shop. Today is the day I've been excited about and waiting for a long time. We're going to take out the rest of the frame rail on this side of the car, and hopefully, if we have enough time, we will be able to start test fitting this handmade frame rail and get things narrowed down and ready to install it in the car. Let's watch the show intro. Don't go anywhere. 30 seconds. I'll see you on the other side. I promise I'll be there.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
I think we're back in the polar vortex here in Michigan. It's the end of April and the temperature's plummeted. It's about 35 degrees here in the shop, so we've got to get the heaters fired up and get the furnace going and all of that for today. But as I mentioned in the very beginning, today is the day that we're going to get the front piece of that frame rail out and start fitting this in the car. So that's exciting, and hopefully it goes well. We also, if we have time, we'll take that cross member out. I'm a little bit apprehensive about that. I think that may be the best word to choose, just because I don't want to mess stuff up that we already did over on the other side. But whatever it is, it's metal. We can weld it up, fix it, whatever it takes. Several things I want to mention as we get into the episode. There's a bunch of exciting announcements I'm going to be making at the end of this, so stick around all the way to the end. Don't fast forward through. You're going to miss all the good stuff. You're going to want to see how this goes. I know you are. You've been as excited and waiting for this as long as I have. All right, we're going to get the furnaces fired up and get some heat in here, and then we're going to get after this thing, so don't go away. Okay, so first thing I need to do in here is I want to take these seat belts out and find the rivet holes. So I'll probably just take my wire brush in here and go after it and get stuff cleaned up a little bit and start figuring out where I got to drill out all these welds. And the nice thing in here again is, as you've heard me say before on other episodes when we were doing this side over here, I don't need to be careful. All I can do is take my plasma cutter and buzz those open, because I'm going to be drilling or welding through to the new frame rail, which is not going to be damaged. So we're just getting all this crap out of here and cutting it out. It's rather funny. Every time I got my mask and my glasses and my ear goggles on, the phone would ring and I'd have to shut the camera off and answer the phone. It's happened 3 times now, so hopefully I'm ready now. Hopefully the phone doesn't ring again. That's good, because it means I'm making money. It's business stuff, so that's great. So I got the finger shredder out. That's what I call this. One other channel that we know calls it the cheek poker, but to me this is the finger shredder, because that's what always happens is I end up. Rust, dust everywhere. All good. Got it cleaned up now. We can clearly see where the spot welds are to start cutting that frame rail out. And one thing we will accomplish today too is we will get rust converter in there to make it look a little bit more like the other side. So we obviously have some floor pan work to do. We still have over there. The piece of floor pan that we had cut apart to use on the other side, and then what I added to with fabrication, we're probably going to end up doing about the same thing on this side and just cut all that out of there. We'll see as we get after it, but we're looking good. So let's get this cut up now. Alright, now so you can see all the holes cut through where all the spot welds are. Hopefully I didn't miss any. Don't think I did. And I kind of cut the floor away in a place here too because it's all junk anyway. So I'm going to still have to cut this open in here. But want to get the piece of frame rail out of there first. I just have to blow that open to be able to poke that frame through while I'm fitting it. So our next stop is to get in here with the burp gun and start breaking this frame rail loose from the car and get it out of there. Note to self, when you're cutting the frame rail out, make sure that the car is not sitting on that frame rail on the jack stand. Just one of those things. I couldn't figure out why the further down I got, it wasn't a safety issue, but I couldn't figure out why the further down I got, I couldn't get the air hammer to fit in. And I looked and I realized it's still sitting on the jack stand there. I didn't put it under the rocker panel like I was supposed to. So we're gonna move that right now. Okay, like I said, it was just a brain fade. The floor pan is in there, so it wasn't going to go anywhere, and the spring mount and all that stuff, so it was perfectly safe. But it's really hard to get the frame rail out when the jack stand is underneath the frame rail. So I moved it over to the rocker panel, same spot as the other side. Checked the door hasn't moved any, so everything is good. Remember, this is something I always keep an eye on, is door alignment, making sure that nothing is moving in the car. I can't say that enough. Don't do this if you don't have doors on the car, because you don't have any idea if things are moving or not. They're always your litmus test to make sure that nothing's moving in the car. All right, let's see how loose we are now. Got some work to do yet, obviously. I think I've got one spot weld up in here that's still holding that I didn't catch. I might need to go back up in there. Yeah, I can see there's one there. Yep, right at the end right here. So there's one spot weld here that I missed that's holding me up. So I'm gonna go cut that one out, and then we should be able to start prying this down and start taking this piece out. We still got to separate it from the spring mount, stuff like that, but we still should be able to start getting some looseness to it. I'll probably just take the plasma cutter in here and just buzz this off of the spring mounts like we did on the other side, because I'm not trying to save any of this frame rail. the final dregs of getting this out of here is going to be a challenge, of course, but we'll get it. Well, there was no doubt that was a fight, but it's out. Got a little cleanup to do now, and then I got to decide whether I'm going to take the time to get that cross member out now, which I probably will, or if I'm just too excited to try fitting the frame piece. And so, yeah, I was going to say I probably will do that. So I guess I'm at a 50-50 right now. Alright, just to give you a good look at where we're at, everything is out now. I thought I had the camera going when I was cleaning this up down here. I didn't. That's okay. It's all good. So, yeah. A little bit of trim work to do up there, but I think since I'm struggling and fighting, I'm just going to go ahead and get this stupid K member out of here now and be, or this cross member out of here now and be done with it. I've reached an executive decision that I'm just going to go ahead and trim this stuff off with the plasma cutter and rebuild the end of this. If I tried loosening it up on the end of the frame here, this is going to be so easy to repair and just put new flanges and stuff on, and I would much rather do that than take a chance on messing up this piece of frame here. You know, I wasn't originally going to take this out, but I really think it makes sense to get it out of the way. So that's what I'm going to do. Worst case, of course, I could buy one of these, but seriously, it's a simple fix to just put these little flanges and stuff back on. But it is welded to the frame, and I'd rather have the cross member out of the way and just rebuild the cross member a little bit to have to put it back in than to try to have to fix this frame if I screw it up. Okay, as always, when you're dealing with rusty bolts, I've never said this on the channel before, but put some slippery stuff on there. Lubricate those bolts a little bit. It'll save you a lot of headache. in the long run. Now we'll buzz those shocks out of there. I'm so going to be glad to have those off of there. Wouldn't say. Woohoo! Okay, so I'll show you what I was referring to. You can see on this end we have a couple of nubs that are here, and then there's a couple of little flanges in here. And so what I did on this end to get it out was just simply to snip those off. It's going to be so easy to just go ahead and make a couple little pieces to put on there to be able to weld this back into the car. I would much rather do that. I damaged the frame rail just a minor amount. I'll get that all cleaned up, no big deal. I would have done a lot more damage had I tried to get all those spot welds loose in there, because, for example, up here, you can see I tore just a little piece of the floor pan, or the frame rail lip. There's an extra wide lip right up there where that attaches. That tore out a little bit, but not bad. If I had tried to get that out of there, because I couldn't see, it's spot welded from this side during assembly. I couldn't see from the other side because this material here is probably 14 gauge. So there was no way to see what that was. And again, this one was welded in where I don't think it should have been, but it'll be fine. It'll be totally fine to build this back up, put it back in there. I know where it goes because of the other side I have the dimensions, so it'll be easy to dimension this back in place. I will put the access holes through the floor in the trunk to get into here as well when we get to doing the trunk floor. So all good. I'm really happy this is out. I had been dreading what I was going to run into, and I'm happy with the decisions I made. Some may disagree with the way I did it. I don't care. My car, my rules. So the next step is to take this front part of the frame rail and find out where I need to snip it down to make it fit into the floor pan, because that's going to have to be done, I'm very sure, and that's totally fine. I made this extra long, but this is just going to snuggle right into the floor pan, and it should fall right into place. I'll have to take a ballpark. Well, let's get this taken apart, and we'll get the front piece kind of under there and see how it's going to go. Well, I've made an executive decision because I've got to cut this floor pan out or open anyway here. I'm just going to cut this up here about a foot, and the reason for that, this floor pan's pretty thin, it's pretty punky. I may just patch it, but to put the subframe connector in, I've got to cut a slice through the whole thing anyway. So there's no point in being gentle. I would just as soon go ahead and make the room, get the frame rail set in place, and be able to do all the fitting that needs to be done in here properly. The other side didn't have this big piece in here, and of course there's no floor over there, so it was a lot easier. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out. Did you ever think we'd get to this point? I did. I never doubted us for a minute. I knew we would. Okay, obviously we are just roughly testing. We've had this one in here before. This isn't the sexiest part of this. And for those who haven't been on the channel before, so you can see what we're going to look like when we're done. Okay, so just a couple things to touch base on. We're pretty good up into here, and then you notice we start coming away from the floor, and that's two reasons. Not just one, but two, but two, but two, but two. Not just one, but two. And if you're not giving blood to the job, you're not working hard enough. Duddy, that's for you. See, I smash myself and cut myself too, so it's all good. There's two reasons here. This is too long this way, and this one is too long this way. So that combination there is causing it to bind and not pull up. It will. This rail actually needs to come back a little bit and it'll go up, but we've got to start doing our calculating and fitting in here to blend these two halves together with that 6-inch overlap for our strength that we need there. So that's getting close and it's looking good. I can already envision how it's going to go, what it's going to look like. Actually, I just pulled it up a bunch more because the clamp wasn't tight here, so that's good. But it's really, 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 ooh, it's sexy. I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it. And in fact, as I'm looking at this, I think this piece here can almost stay the length it is. And this one's just gonna need to trim in here a little bit and down at an angle, and it'll all pull right up together really nicely. I could just lay here and look at this. Maybe take a nap. Of course, we have massive amounts of trimming to do here, and the front of that is just a little high, and that's because of that cutting that needs to be done in the back, so that'll pivot right down in place. Turned out really good. Yeah, I'm very happy. So you can see both hand fabricated frame rails and where that side is right now, and I've shifted gears a little bit with the subframe connectors, so I've discussed that on another episode. But it's all planned, and I actually accommodated for that a little bit on this one, and as I said, this will get cut off to fit in place. So yes. So one thing I wanted to mention for those who are new to the channel is one of the big reasons we're restoring this Challenger is for all of this up here in the back window. You may not know this, but this is the ZZ4 option code factory botanical garden, and it's a very, very rare option on this car, and so that is one of the reasons that I'm so keen on restoring it, because I want to preserve that factory option here because it is so rare. Okay, just bombed the parts that I'm going to leave in the car and blend into with the rust conditioner, so that can dry and it'll look somewhat like that over there once it's dry. So we have polished a turd and got it shiny. And we have a coon living in the top of the shop, and it's driving me crazy. Zoom back here so you can get a better look, because if I'm going to stand here and look at it, so are you. No, I'm really happy with it. Cool, 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 cool. Just out of curiosity, because the frame rail is completely out of the car, I was just curious how much flex is in here. And there is no more flex in this quarter panel right now, with there being no frame rail in there. I mean, the one that's in there is just clamped in, so it's useless. But anyway, there's no more flex in that quarter panel than there is with the old frame rail in there. Now here's my point in that. The frame rail, as I said before, is more about transmitting forward motion than it is about body rigidity. A unibody car, its strength is not just in those frame rails. Do they do nothing? Of course they do things. I'm not saying that. But the frame rail is only one piece in what makes this car have all of its strength. So that's, you know, over on that side I was a lot more cautious about supporting the back end. Half this frame has been out for a month now. Cut the rest of it out. I could hear the car creaking a little bit, but it was more about the frame popping and coming out. The door is perfect. The door jamb is good. The door gap is good, I should say, so we're good to go. Awesome. A couple other things I want to share. This is the stuff I said to stay tuned for, so stay tuned. I'll be right back after a brief message from, no, not from anybody. Be right back. A couple things I wanted to mention. I got dirt in my hair. I didn't want to mention that, but just needed to deal with that. You'll notice the Super Clean banner appeared in the middle of the show. When I went in to get my lunch, I had forgotten that they had sent me another package of product and a banner and a couple of other things. So thank you, Super Clean. Which reminds me, tonight, during this episode, coming very quickly here, we're going to be doing that drawing for the winner. So don't go away before this is over. That's going to come as soon as my wife gets home. We'll get out here and we'll draw those names. Second thing, got a little package in the mail from Jags today. I mentioned this in our last episode, and went ahead and just decided to just go ahead and order them. So we have a package of 24 Cleco fasteners and a pair of pliers. So finally decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and get these. So if you haven't seen these in action before, we will put them into action when we're hanging panels and other things. Whoops. Unless we drop them all on the floor and break them. So excited, I've wanted those for a long time, and when I was assembling that frame rail and had all those clamp problems, I decided to go ahead. I know I could have used sheet metal screws, but I've always wanted those, so I went ahead and got them. Before I forget this also, there's going to be updates coming on the Forsyth 340 Duster drag car project, so watch for that coming soon. Been forward motion there, and I'll just leave it at that. There's going to be some exciting stuff coming on the Forsyth Duster. So the frame rail is in. There's a lot of modification to do. I'm stopping here because I'm tired. I feel like I've been beat to death, rode hard, put away wet. I'm bleeding, I'm bruised, I smashed a finger. All kinds of exciting things. Fortunately, most of it was on time lapse, so unless you saw the blue cloud coming out of my mouth, you might not have noticed. I tend to just, unless it's really bad, I just ignore it and keep moving. Half the time I don't even realize I cut myself, but that's just par for the course with this stuff. I know, Randall, wear gloves. Sorry, ain't gonna happen unless it has to. So the next episode on this car most likely will be fitting that frame rail, marrying those two halves together, getting everything fitting in the car properly, and then probably take that unit back out and get it all welded solid, etc., etc. That's going to be some tedious work. I'm going to have a couple of hours in it, but you know, we are the frame rail channel here. So out of our 141, 2, 3 episodes that we have on the channel, 367.2 of them are building the frame rails for this Challenger. I know some people think that, but you want details and you got details. Another episode on the Oakland coming. Dad's going to be here in a couple days, and we're going to be working on that. Got a lot of exciting things coming for you. We've got another road trip coming up soon. That one's going to be fun. You're not going to want to miss that episode, so stick around for that. I almost forgot. There's some other stuff coming in the mail soon too for a couple of the other projects, so that's going to be exciting as well. You're not going to want to miss that coming, so watch for that. Made a bunch of orders in the last couple days here, so things are going to start trickling in pretty quickly now. So yes, lots and lots and lots happening here in my car shop. Yeah, so let's do the drawing and then announce the winner. Well, I said that we would get her, and here she is. So we're giving away these products, the Super Clean foaming degreaser and the spray bottle of degreaser. And so we're going to draw names. Becky's going to draw the names, and we'll see who wins. We're using a welding helmet if you didn't figure that out. And the winner is...
Bob or Bob? I can't read your writing.
Bob.
Bob Freeman?
Yeah. We've been married for 35 years and she still can't read my writing.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yep, congratulations, Bob. Awesome. Okay, well that's going to do it for this episode. Anything you want to say? Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Remember to go over to Facebook and post pictures of the projects you're doing. The thread is posted to the top of the page. It's called Show Us Your Junk. Instagram and Facebook /mycarshop. And one more thing, don't forget, rock on.